Every day, thousands of Comcast engineers and technologists, like Kunle, put people at the heart of everything they create.
In the average household, there are dozens of connected devices. Here in the Comcast family, we're building an integrated in-home Wi-Fi solution for millions of families like my own. It brings people together in meaningful ways.
Kunle and his team are building a Wi-Fi experience that connects 1 billion devices every year. Learn more about how Comcast is redefining the future of connectivity at comcastcorporation.com/Wi-Fi.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025. Born on this date in 1952, bass player for Alabama, Teddy Gentry of Fort Payne. And in 1973, current UFL coach, former Alabama State football coach, and former NFL wide receiver Reggie Barlow of Montgomery. Today, let's talk about snow and a few of President Trump's executive orders that apply more directly to us. My name's Ike Morgan, and we're down in Alabama. We talk about snow in Alabama here from time to time. Almost always, Lower Alabama misses out on all the fun. Well, congratulations, Lower Alabamians. That was reversed in a big way yesterday. With folks to the north high and dry and really, really cold, heavy snowfall landed on the southern part of the state all the way down to the Gulf Coast. And in some places, it was unprecedented in modern times, reports AL.com's Lee Morgan. The National Weather Service measured 7.5 inches at its office in Mobile. Now that breaks Mobile's record for a single day's snowfall and for a single snow event. Now the difference in those is that a snow event could cross into another day. See, like snowfall lasts past midnight. The previous record for a snow event was 6 inches, set way back in 1895. The previous record snow in a single day in Mobile was 5 inches, set even farther back on January 24th, 1881. That was a few months before the gunfight at the OK Corral took place. Now, if you live in an affected area, pay attention to local emergency officials regarding road conditions. It's not going to do much warming up today, so you could get some melt that refreezes as ice to make roads and bridges even slicker. And in the northern part of the state, the Tennessee Valley Authority is asking folks to conserve power during the cold snap because of the high demand for electricity. Hoover Mayor Frank Mercado said in his State of the City message that Hoover is commissioning a $200,000 study to plan the future of the River Chase Galleria, reports AL.com's Joseph D. Bryant. Mercado said the big mall is still doing well, but they can't ignore shopping trends in a digital world. He said the mall has 8 owners, and the city's finally been able to get them all on board with doing a market assessment. The River Chase Galleria is Alabama's biggest mall, and it opened in 1986. As newly elected presidents do, President Donald Trump issued scores of executive orders upon officially taking office, some to follow through or at least take a step forward on a campaign promise, and others to reverse course on Biden administration policy. While the effects of many of the orders could make an impact on any or all Americans, Alabamians included, I wanted to mention a handful that more directly or obviously affect our state. First, Trump's commutations and pardons of around 1,500 January 6 U.S. Capitol protesters and rioters were more sweeping than folks had expected, after his own vice president and his pick for attorney general both indicated that violent offenders would not be pardoned. But instead, the president pardoned those who say they were merely caught up in the crowd as it surged into the Capitol building, right on up to those convicted of sedition or violent crimes after assaulting police officers. Among those pardoned were those who have served their time, those currently behind bars, and those with charges still pending. And now for the Alabama connection, it was good news for at least 22 Alabama residents who received a pardon. Another executive order issued by Trump was his America First trade policy, which calls on his administration to review and address current U.S. trade policy. During his campaign, Trump said that on his first day in office, he would impose a 25% tariff on goods imported from Mexico, Canada, and China. Now, that didn't happen on day one, but Trump did say this week that on February 1st, he'll move ahead with the 25% tariff on Mexico and Canada. Now, the president said that he's doing it to pressure the neighboring nations to stop illegal immigration and the flow of drugs into the U.S. He said during his inaugural address that he'll use tariffs to, quote, enrich our citizens. Now, while import tariffs obviously can lead to higher prices for domestic consumers, protectionists and some who may favor more government intervention in international trade argue that import tariffs are an advantage to U.S. companies and, by extension, their workers and unions. That's obviously not the case for those in the shipping industry. For example, here in Alabama, the Port of Mobile and related businesses. Also in Alabama, around $8.1 billion worth of imports come from Mexico. Now, that includes billions in motor vehicle parts for our automotive plants here. Trump also issued several executive orders that'll affect federal workers in Alabama and elsewhere. I'll mention a few of them here. They promised to end diversity, equity, and inclusion hiring and DEI programs in the federal government, to freeze hiring for federal employees, except positions for military personnel or related to immigration enforcement, national security, or public safety, and to end the work from home option for applicable federal jobs. So you will have to drive to the office 5 days a week. And the last one we'll mention today, Trump has renamed that big body of water to our south, on federal documentation at least. Trump issued an executive order to rename the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. It turns out he was not joking about that after all. The executive order applies to how the Gulf is named on federal documents, but does not automatically change the name internationally or how it's used by any other entity. Now, the state of Florida has already started using the new name, possibly making the good residents of Mexico Beach down there wonder what's coming next. Now, all Trump's executive orders, of course, are subject to constitutional scrutiny. Thank y'all so much for listening to us. We're going to be back here again in the morning. Until then, y'all come on by anytime you want to. See what we're doing on the internet at al.com.